Hello, I'm Narayan Singh and welcome to Sports 360, your one-stop destination for all big sporting events across the globe. India Tour of Australia is also to commence from 27th November. Before the high-voltage clash, we will take a look at the controversial India-Australia clashes that can never be forgotten. Rohit Sharma's hamstring injury and its status has become the biggest talking point in Indian cricketing circles. It's being talked about even more because there seems to be some confusion over how exactly the serious injury is, which could possibly have serious ripple effects. PV Sindhu's tweet about her retirement sent Indian Twitter into a frenzy. England World Cup winner Bobby Charlton regarded England's greatest had developed dementia, and headers in football are coming under scrutiny after Charlton's dementia diagnosis. Besides this, we have our regular segment, Performance of the Week, Sporting Moments of the Week. But first up, the cover story we are tracking this week. The India vs Australia series has always been a fiercely fought between the two sides. The quality of cricket is so intense that players often get into altercation and verbal wars on the field. There have been some controversial incidents in the past which are hard to overlook ahead of the series. Let's have a look.
The Indian Tour of Australia is all set to commence from 27th November when the two teams meet for the first ODI at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Before the high-voltage clash, let us have a look at controversial India-Australia clashes that can never be forgotten. The most controversial and talked about the match between India and Australia was played in 2008. The Sydney Test in this series came to be remembered more for the drama that surrounded it rather than the on-field play itself. Australian all-rounder Andrew Symonds and veteran Indian off-spinner Harbhajan Singh had a terrible mix-up in the middle. Symonds said that Harbhajan had called him monkey. This resulted in level 3 charge against Harbhajan, and he was banned for 3 tests as well as 50% of his match fees was deducted as penalty. The Indian cricket team and management were highly unimpressed with this decision. Later, on the basis of Sachin Tendulkar's observation, Harbhajan was freed from the charges and the ban was lifted. The incident created immense tension between both the teams, and that only reflected in the test matches to follow. Later, Symonds had to take back his accusation, which raised further eyebrows. In 2014-15, the Indian Tour of Australia produced yet another game which is alive in the memories of cricket fans. This time India were playing an ODI game against the Aussies. In this game, Indian opener Rohit Sharma and the Aussie batsman David Warner had a verbal exchange against each other. Rohit played a stroke that went straight to Warner. Warner threw the ball to the stumps, but since there was no one backing up, Rohit was able to run across to the other end and successfully add a run to the total. This is what hurt Warner as he came running to have a word with Sharma. However, Rohit responded in Hindi, and that's what aggravated Warner further as he kept on shouting, "Speak English." His behavior was found to be inappropriate, and hence he was penalized 50% of his match fees. In 2008, the Australian team had come down to India for the Border Gavaskar Trophy. During the series, the first between Gautam Gambhir and Shane Watson is one thing that can never be forgotten. In this particular incident, Watson was bowling to Gambhir, and after playing the stroke, Gambhir went to the non-striker's end for a run. Sensing an opportunity for a second run, Gambhir was running back when he pushed Watson with his elbow while running back for the second run. Although the incident was reported as a mere incident by Gautam Gambhir, he had to sit out for a game as a penalty. The one-match ban handed over by ICC was viewed as too harsh a punishment by cricket experts. However, both the cricketers move on from that incident and now share a friendly relationship. In the 2001 Border Gavaskar series, yet another controversy emerged. In the first game of the series itself, there was a verbal spat between Rahul Dravid and Michael Slater. Although Slater had caught Dravid out, the third umpire had decided to give the benefit of the doubt to the batsman, and Dravid continued to bat. Angry at the umpire's decision, Slater's first had a go at Dravid and then ran and said something to the non-striker Tendulkar. However, Slater had later apologized for his immature behavior to both the players and evaded a major controversy. Sunil Gavaskar once famously said that India were up against 13 men when playing against Australia in Australia. In a way, the bad blood between the two teams can be traced back to the match at the MCG in 1981, where Gavaskar was the captain. He led his opening partner Chetan Chauhan off the field in protest of an unumpiring decision when he was adjudged leg before off Dennis Lillee. The India-Australia clashes are more often than not high-intensity games, and it is only possible that at the heat of the moment something like this happens, although it shouldn't be at the cost of the spirit of the sports and sportsmanship. Let's hope matches in the upcoming tour will be remembered for the quality of cricket and nothing more. Sports Desk, DD India.
Mumbai Indians captain Rohit Sharma has become the talk of the town. When Rohit Sharma walked out for the toss with David Warner in IPL's Group League stage, he added an unexpected controversy and also put BCCI and Indian selectors in a quandary. Wasn't Rohit Sharma omitted from the Indian squads earlier because his injury did not look like it would heal in time for the tour of Australia? If he was fit to play IPL, then why wasn't Sharma, arguably the best white ball batsman in the country, in the teams for the tour? More in this report.
Ace Indian opening batsman Rohit Sharma's hamstring injury and its status has steadily become the biggest talking point in Indian cricketing circles. It's being talked about even more because there seems to be some confusion over exactly how serious the injury is, which could possibly have serious ripple effects. Here's a quick exercise for you. October 18th. It all began when Rohit picked up a hamstring injury in Mumbai Indians' second leg fixture against Kings 11 Punjab on October 18th. The Mumbai Indians called it a hamstring strain in his left leg. He subsequently missed the next 4 Mumbai matches. October 25th, a day before the Indian Selection Committee meeting to pick the squads for the ODIs, T20s and Tests in Australia, Team India physiotherapist Nitin Patel submitted his report on Rohit's injury status to the BCCI and the selectors. October 26th, a week after Rohit's injury, the BCCI announced India's full squad for the Tour of Australia for all 3 formats. Rohit, who would have been a first-choice pick in all 3 squads, was not named in any of them, indicating clearly that the selectors were told that Rohit's injury was serious enough to possibly not heal in time for him to play on the Tour of Australia. October 26th. On the very same day after the squads for the Tour of Australia were announced, Mumbai Indians put up videos of Rohit practicing in the nets in the UAE, further fueling speculation about the exact nature of his injury and its seriousness. October 27th, former Indian captain Sunil Gavaskar asked for more transparency as far as the status of Rohit's hamstring injury is concerned, saying, "We are talking about the test matches, which are a month and a half away. And if he is practicing in the nets for Mumbai Indians, then honestly I don't know what kind of injury it is." November 3rd, BCCI President Sourav Ganguly in an interview said that Rohit is definitely injured at this time. Otherwise, why would we leave out a player like him? He has not played so far since the time he has got injured. We want him to recover. It's the BCCI's job to get their best players on the park. If he recovers, he plays. November 3rd. The same day that Ganguly gave this interview, Rohit surprised everyone by walking out for the toss in Mumbai's last league match and Hyderabad. At the toss, he drops a bombshell and says, "Looks like I'm fit and fine." He looks rusty though while batting and only manages to score a 7-ball-4. Mumbai lost the match by 10 wickets. It was their worst defeat of the season. Now there are a few unknowns that must be addressed straight away. What did the official report of the Indian team physio say? What did the official report of the Mumbai Indians team physio say? Was there a conflict between the 2 diagnoses? What has prevented the BCCI from issuing an official statement about Rohit's injury, his fitness and the expected recovery time? Did they not have access to the Mumbai Indians fitness report? As you can see, it is difficult to understand the chronology, and that's mostly because the only official statement has come from Mumbai Indians and BCCI has kept through its official channels, while coach and the board president spoke to the media instead. If Mumbai Indians were playing cards close to their chest and strategy, then is the BCCI's control over this issue minimal? Or is Rohit defying BCCI's suggestions so as to help his franchise win a 4th IPL title? Will he now be named in the squads to Tour Australia now and be reinstated as vice-captain, a role that was assigned to KL Rahul? These are just some of the basic questions that we currently have no answer to. Sports Desk, DD India.
Former Australian all-rounder Shane Watson announced retirement from all forms of cricket, ending a 20-year-long illustrious career during which he was one of the world's premier white ball all-rounders. The Australian all-rounder had already ended his international career in March 2016 and had only been playing overseas T20 leagues. Let's take a look at his illustrious career through these images. World champion PV Sindhu caused a flutter on social media with a message that began with the words, "Denmark Open was the final straw, I retire." But anybody who read the tweet in its entirety will have learned that she wasn't talking about hanging up her racket. She was referring to the negativity which has spread in the wake of COVID-19.
Ace badminton player PV Sindhu's tweet about her retirement sent Indian Twitter into a frenzy. At first glance, it appeared that Sindhu was hanging up her boots and had announced her retirement. For those who jumped to conclusions without reading her lengthy post, it came as a shock. And for those who read her post in entirety, were reminded of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. The Hyderabadi shuttler mentioned the word retirement on her timeline. In a lengthy post, Sindhu wrote about how the Denmark Open was the final straw and she has decided to retire. The post has gone viral on social media and is one of the biggest talking points. India's only shuttler to have won a silver medal at the Olympics wrote, "I've been thinking about coming clean with my feelings for a while now. I admit I have been struggling to deal with it. It just feels so wrong, you know. That's why I'm writing today to tell you that I'm done. It's understandable if you're shocked or confused, but by the time you finish reading this, you would have learnt about my point of view and hopefully will support it too. This pandemic has been an eye-opener for me. I could train hard to fight the toughest of opponents tooth and nail, right till the final shot of the game. I have done it before, I can do it again. But how do I defeat this invisible virus that has the entire world in a fix? Today I choose to retire from this current sense of unrest. I retire from this negativity, the constant fear, the uncertainty. I choose to retire from a complete lack of control over the known." Her post, however, was aimed at grabbing the attention of everyone and serve as a reminder to citizens that they were still in the middle of an ongoing pandemic. Her fans and well-wishers breathed a sigh of relief. Many, however, joked that Sindhu pulled an MS Dhoni. On social media, fans drew a comparison between the two champions. Sports Desk, DD India.
Rafael Nadal became the fourth player to record 1,000 ATP wins with victory over fellow Spaniard Feliciano Lopez at the Paris Masters. The feat comes a month after Nadal won his 20th Grand Slam, matching Federer's record with 13th French Open title. Here is a breakdown of Nadal's wins. We can see that in the video wall, how the breakdown of his wins. Most ATP career matches, Jimmy Connors has won 1,274 matches, Roger Federer 1,242 matches, and Ivan Lendl 1,068 matches, and Rafael Nadal 1,000 matches. He can break that record of Ivan Lendl's. And Guillermo Vilas 951 matches, Novak Djokovic 930 matches, Nastase 905 matches, and John McEnroe 883 matches. So here we can say that he is far ahead of Novak Djokovic. Who has Nadal beaten the most? Novak Djokovic 27 times, David Ferrer 26 times, Roger Federer 24 times, and Thomas Berdych 20 times. And it's a great record, but the head-to-head as far as is concerned against Djokovic, Djokovic has an edge on that. Stan Wawrinka 19 times, Andy Murray 17 times, Fernando Verdasco 17 times, and Richard Gasquet 16 times. So what an incredible record that Nadal has here, we can see that. And where has he won the most? In hard courts, he has won 482 matches. In clay court, which is his favorite surface, Nadal registered 445 wins. In grass courts, 71 wins, and in carpet courts, 2 wins. And we can see that he also completed 100 match wins at the Roland Garros recently. So what a great player Nadal is. And we can see that his records all over the courts, and in the coming times he can also increase this tally. As Sir Bobby Charlton became the latest England's 1966 World Cup winners to be diagnosed with dementia, soccer has been learning more about its historic links with chronic brain illness and its continued risk. Footballs are now lighter, but they travel more quickly, up to 80 miles per hour in professional games. Researchers have found that the speed of the ball, not the weight, causes the damage. Campaigners want football authorities to do more to protect modern players.
On Sunday came the news that England World Cup winner Bobby Charlton, regarded England's greatest, had developed dementia. And headers in football are coming under scrutiny after Charlton's dementia diagnosis. Can football lead to dementia? Last year, a landmark study by the University of Glasgow revealed that former professional footballers are 3.5 times more likely to suffer from dementia, a 5-fold increase in the risk of Alzheimer's, a 4-time increase in motor neuron diseases, and a 2-fold increase in Parkinson's. This was because of the damage to the brain due to repeated heading of the football over a period of time. How does heading the ball affect the brain? Almost 1/5 of the 260 career goals Alan Shearer scored, the most in English Premier League history, came from headers, a skill he practiced over 100 times a day in training for more than 20 years. Scientists at Scotland's University for Sporting Excellence conducted various cognitive tests on Shearer in 2 parts. After the first, Alan Shearer was made to head a ball which weighs close to 500 grams 20 times. Immediately after, he had to take the same test again. The results post-heading showed changes in the way the brain communicated with muscles, and impulses took a little longer to travel down the nerves. Scientists say more than in a match, it is the repeated in-practice drills that causes greater harm. The risk was greater among players from the older generation since the balls used then were a lot heavier. Headers increase dementia risk. Footballers are at just as much risk of dementia now as they were when players like Jeff Astle, Bobby and Jack Charlton headed rain-sodden, heavy leather footballs in the 1960s and 70s. A new research says although balls are lighter now, they now travel more quickly, up to 80 miles per hour in the professional game, and as a result can cause even more damage. The sad news that Manchester United and England legend Sir Bobby Charlton has been diagnosed with a degenerative brain condition has prompted fresh debate over what can be done to protect the current generation of footballers. Charlton's elder brother Jack died aged 85 in July following a battle with dementia and lymphoma. And of England's 1966 World Cup team, Martin Peters and Ray Wilson both died after battling dementia, and Nobby Stills died from advanced dementia and prostate cancer on October 30th. Risk to modern players is reduced. It's been suggested that the risk to modern players is reduced because the ball is lighter and does not soak up rainwater since it's made of polyurethane. But the lead author of the Glasgow study, Dr. Willie Stewart, dismissed that possibility, highlighting new research from the University of Leeds published last month. Astle's death at 59 years of age in 2002 came after he had been diagnosed with early onset dementia. The centre-forward's daughter, Dawn, is a determined campaigner for better protection of footballers and insists the Football Authority could and should do more to reduce the risk of brain injury in players now and not wait for further research. Astle's organisation, the Jeff Astle Foundation, is calling for 2 immediate changes to the modern game, neither of which would impact on the spectacle, it is claimed. Have players in India suffered from this? Legendary Indian striker PK Banerjee was diagnosed with dementia before he passed away this year. There are, however, no restrictions on players across all age groups heading the ball in matches or during training. Sports Desk, TD India.
There were big wins, hat-tricks and plenty of drama on UEFA Champions League Match Day 3. Real Madrid beat Inter Milan, while there were some hat-trick scorers at Liverpool and Mönchengladbach won big matches. Başakşehir claimed their first Europa League Champions League win as they stunned Manchester United, but 10-man Sevilla sensationally denied Krasnodar.
Manchester United fell to a Champions League defeat in Turkey as Demba Ba punished brainless defending. On a historic night for Istanbul, Başakşehir United would succumb to defeat at unfancied Istanbul Başakşehir, with former Premier League striker Ba and skipper Edin Visca scoring in a 2-1 win, their first ever Champions League group stage victory. Barcelona registered 3 wins from 3 in Champions League as they beat a depleted Dynamo Kiev to go top of Group G. Lionel Messi scored from the penalty spot inside 5 minutes, and Gerard Pique headed home to secure an unconvincing victory. Alvaro Morata scored twice as Serie A champions Juventus claimed an easy win over Hungarian minnows Ferencváros in Champions League Group G. Andrea Pirlo's side recovered from their defeat by group leaders Barcelona last time out and look well set to reach the knockout stages. In his 100th game for Juve, Morata netted in the first half and curled in a delightful second on the hour mark. Paulo Dybalà's effort and Lascia Devalli's own goal completed a comfortable win.
So it was an action-packed day on match day 3 of the UEFA Champions League. Now let's take a look where the teams are standing in the points table of the UEFA Champions League. In Group A, we can see that Bayern Munich is at the top and they are unbeaten so far in this group stage with 3 matches, 3 wins, and they lost none and have 9 points. Atletico Madrid are at the second place with 4 points. Lokomotiv Moscow are at the third place, while Salzburg are at the fourth place, topped by Bayern Munich. And in the Group B, we can see that the German club Mönchengladbach is at the top and Shakhtar Donetsk is at the second place. Real Madrid is struggling at the third place with 4 points, while Inter Milan is at the fourth place, and they are both the top clubs are struggling here, Real Madrid and Inter Milan. In Group C, English club Man City is unbeaten so far in this season. In 3 matches they have 3 points, 3 matches they have 9 points, and FC Porto in 3 matches they have 6 points. Olympiacos is at third place and they have 3 points. And in Group D, we can see that Liverpool is unbeaten so far in this group stage of the Champions League. Ajax is at the second place with 4 points. Atlanta is at third and Midtjylland is at the fourth place. And as far as Group E is concerned, we can see that Chelsea, English club, is at the top. After 3 matches, they have 7 points. And Sevilla have, after 3 matches, they have 7 points. And Krasnodar have 1 point, and Rennes also has 1 point after 3 matches. In Group F, we can see that German club Borussia Dortmund after 3 matches have 6 points. Lazio after 3 matches have 5 points, and Club Brugge is at the third place. And in Group G, Barcelona, the Spanish giants, are unbeaten so far in 3 matches. They have 9 points. Juventus have 6 points and is at second place. Ukrainian club Dynamo Kyiv as a third place, and Ferencváros is at the fourth. In Group H, Manchester United is leading after 3 matches. They have 6 points. They lost their last match. And Leipzig, we can say that Leipzig has 6 points after 2 matches, and PSG is at the third place, struggling. The Giants are struggling, and Başakşehir, they stunned Manchester United in the previous match. Now it's time for the 20 updates from the sporting world in this weekly top 20. Manipur's Gyanendra Nigbobam was elected unopposed as the Hockey India president, taking over from Mohammad Mushtaq Ahmed, who was asked to demit office after Sports Ministry for violating the National Sports Code's tenure guidelines. The FIH postponed the upcoming FIH Pro League matches due to the COVID-19 related travel restrictions in the competing nations. Ben Stokes has been named in the England's 2020 squad for the next month's white ball tour of South Africa. England will play 3 T20s and 3 one-day internationals from November 27, all being behind the closed doors. Sri Lanka delayed the Lanka Premier League cricket tournament for the 3rd time and cut the number of venues to the 1 from 3 as coronavirus infections surge. Brisbane Heat unveiled Morne Morkel as the local player for this season's Big Bash League. Former South Africa Quick, now a permanent resident of Australia. Pace bowler Kagiso Rabada has returned to South Africa's squad for the upcoming T20 and one-day international against England. CAS expects decision on Russian appeal against ban by the end of 2020. Russia was sanctioned last year after the WADA concluded that Moscow had planted fake evidence and deleted files linked to positive doping tests. Argentine soccer legend Diego Maradona is set to remain in hospital for several more days to undergo treatment following surgery to remove a blood clot on the brain. Europa League clash for Tottenham Hotspur. Kane became the 3rd Tottenham Hotspur player to score 200 goals as they won 3-1 against Ludogorets in the UEFA Europa League. After a much better European performance than they produced last week, Tottenham Hotspur claimed a comfortable 1-3 victory over Ludogorets in Bulgaria this evening. 2 own goals helped Arsenal recover from falling behind to crush Molde 4-1 in Europa League. Nicolas Pepe and Joe Willock also scoring for Londoners. Alfred Morelos wrote his name into the Rangers record books, but 22nd European goal was not enough to defeat 10-man Benfica after a 3-3 draw. AS Roma took control of Group A with a thumping 5-0 win over Cluj. Roma are on top with 7 points after a powerful display from second string line. Merol scored a brace for the team. WADA had apologized and agreed to pay damages for the France international football Mohamed Sakho for the drugs ban in 2016. Lewis Hamilton moved to the brink of a 7th world title with a victory in the Imola Grand Prix and 1-2 for the Mercedes with Valtteri Bottas second sealed a 7th consecutive Constructors' Championship. Saudi Arabia will host a Formula 1 Grand Prix for the first time next year with a night race on the streets of the country's second city, Jeddah. The sports and organizers announced this week. England's Callum Shinkwin won first European title by beating Kale Samuja in a playoff at the Cyprus Open. Wales national team head coach and former Manchester United player Ryan Giggs was arrested on suspicion of assault. Italy coach Roberto Mancini has tested positive for coronavirus. The 55-year-old is asymptomatic. The All Blacks rugby team is in talks with the private equity investors as it struggles with the financial impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Harry Kane continued on his path to becoming Tottenham's greatest ever goal scorer as he notched his 200th for the club in a 3-1 Europa League win against Ludogorets. This is our performance of the week. Indian cricket captain Virat Kohli celebrated his 32nd birthday on November 5. Kohli made his India debut in 2008, took over reins of Indian cricket captaincy from MS Dhoni. The right-handed batsman from Delhi is currently number 2 in the test rankings and number 1 in ODIs. Before we wrap up, enjoy these images of Kohli's illustrious career. Namaskar.